Well, what are we looking at here? Let's back up and take a closer look. Well, let's go forward and take a closer look. We got 4.1% air. We got a mixture of something in here, and I could bet you it's R12 and it's not 1234YF. We got 97.3%, 134. Now let's back up. Can you guess what this is? From this angle, do you know what vehicle I'm looking at? Who has experience? Who knows right away? Well, let me back up a little bit more and give you a little bit more of a hint. When do you notice you know what vehicle this is? Do you now know what vehicle this is? For those of you who do not, let me back up a little more and let you guess a little more. Now do you know? Okay, by now, if you don't know if this is a Mercedes, okay, nothing more to say. So the air conditioning on this, it has been retrofitted before. And when you look down here, this is a SOB to work on when it comes to getting the fittings. If you could see, this has the York compressor on it, and it has the fittings way the hell down there. There's the retrofit fitting. You can see, let's see if I could zoom it. Okay, you see that brass looking off the aluminum right there? That's part of the retrofit fitting. That's almost impossible to get to. And if you look where you see the blue anodized down there, see if I could get a zero right there. You can see that's my fitting hooked up to the hose, taking a refrigerant sample, going to my refrigerant analyzer, because I always want to know what the last guy did who worked on these things. You know, it's almost impossible. It's getting worse and worse at trying to find clean, pure refrigerant. It's always becoming a problem, but man, it's becoming a real big problem. And when you have such a beautiful vehicle like this, it's in such great shape. I mean, this is show car quality vehicle. And you know, somebody's this sloppy when they do their work. These are the kind of cars I take my extra time on. Now, if you look into the sight glass on the receiver dryer, you see it's like brown and yellow color. And you see little particulate matters inside of the sight glass. So you know the system has been contaminated before, and by using the refrigerant analyzer, that proves it right there. That tells you everything. And so you know the excessive moisture in the system combines with the refrigerant to make an acid, and sometimes we'll find out, but that acid on these old receiver dryers, especially depending on the material, let's see if I can get that focused. There you go. Depending on the material that's in here, the acid would break down the filter material. So you have an empty chamber up here where the refrigerant comes in at. Then there's a metal screen. And then that metal screen will have little holes in it. There'll be like 100 little holes in it. And then just below that, there'll be a material filter pad, you know, made out of a material. And then below that will be the desiccant BBs. It'll be about 1.5 inches thick, 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. And then there'll be another layer of material, and then another layer of metal screen. They did it a couple ways. They either used a fine mesh screen and they used a metal plate with holes in it, or they just used the metal plate. And then the refrigerant would pass through that and then drop into the bottom, and the refrigerant would fill up the bottom. Then you have a long straw going from like up here in the sight glass right below here. A straw goes all the way to the very bottom, just holding off the bottom down here in this little well down here. So it would only pick up liquid refrigerant, and the liquid refrigerant would make its way back up to deliver to the expansion valve. Well, what would happen was, with these sloppy guys who don't believe in good vacuum and don't believe you could leave percentage of air in there, so you have oxygen, you have H2O from the air, water in the atmosphere absorbed into the system, and it combines with the chlorine with the refrigerant, and it makes hydrochloric acid. And it would eat away this material that's in there, and the BBs would drop out if they had the ones with the round holes that were big enough. And as the filter pad would dissolve and become thinner and sometimes open up, the BBs would vibrate around, turn into a fine powder, and become like a mud in the system. Other times, it would drop through the holes in the metal screen and drop to the bottom and get sucked up into the tube and be delivered to the expansion valve and plug up the expansion valve. And when they get this old and you see that kind of little debris on the inside of the glass, let me see if I can focus again. I think today's a worse day than normal for the Apple to want or want not to focus. But I'm not looking at the debris on the outside surface of the glass. I'm looking at the debris and the oil condition and the color on the inside of the glass. So let's go on from here. Now a visual inspection of the hoses everywhere. Visually, no oil stains anywhere. It looks like from a previously boiling over leaking battery, we had a little damage right here where the acid got onto the hoses. I like how they have the sleeve put over the jacket of the hose on here like this. That was a nice little touch. Somebody did that. It goes right down there. And then somebody put one. I don't usually see this jacket on there. So they got a little jacket. Someone put a hose. That was nice there. That will add some life to the system. And the original condenser. Now you have this. These are the 3/8 tubes, tube and fin, and these are 3/8 inch of a diameter tubes. It's only a 2-row. This is a 2-row condenser, and the fins are roughly, I think this is a 12. For every 1 inch, you have 12 fins. So this is definitely very, very old school. This is 1970, and I have not shown you the emission sticker. So it says it's a 1970. Like how it has all its stickers. That's the chassis. They still have the air conditioning sticker here. Oh, the engine sticker, for those of you who want to know. I always liked how everything was manufactured, can be taken apart, serviced, rebuilt. Old German stuff like this. Always love stuff like this. Take you a little roundabout on this vehicle so you can see it from a distance, how pristine it is. This is in really good condition. What's our mileage on this thing? And so we have, why can I not focus in there? I think it says it's going to go to 17 or 18,000 miles, probably 100 some thousand. And is this 100 and like 17, 18,000, or is that the original 18,000? It's about to flick over. It's flicked over. Thought it did. Now I was looking at all the lines on the metal to all the foldings. Looks like the speakers in the rear were replaced because I could see a little bit of the sun fading on the material that was back here. It looks like that leather or that material was replaced, but this is maybe still original. But the speakers are too good of condition because they show no aging of sun failure, where the original speaker in the front. So if you're in a show and you're looking at stuff, if you look at that original speaker, the cone has dissolved in the middle. We got a lot of reflection there, sorry guys. And the surround material has dissolved. And so that was definitely original. But the interior is absolutely beautiful. The dash is beautiful. I mean, this is a keeper. I like spending extra time on these cars, and I like to do the best job I possibly can and deliver the customer above and beyond when I see a vehicle this beautiful. Look at the material in here on the seal. This is beautiful. And I was looking at the ridge for any disformation or any rust or any peeling or popping of the paint or anything. Everything is beautiful. The lines are beautiful. Oh my God, it's so nice. Coming back here, looking at the lines going down the car, looking all the way down the lines and any gaps on any of the trim, as if any metal work was done before or anything like that. Sometimes you have little gaps, open up stuff. This thing's beautiful. All the lines, everything is lined up really well. Everything is level. Yeah, this is a nice one. This is definitely a keeper. I would drive something like this, but it would be a shame to have me drive something like this and keep. I could never keep it in good enough shape. For me, I would have to try to sell it off to somebody who can take good care of it, because this is a vehicle that deserves care. Yeah, this is nice. All right, guys, so we're gonna get off to this, and there'll be multiple videos on this vehicle as I go step by step. This was just my first step. Now I'm gonna see how much refrigerant's in the system. I know this stuff, when it gets old, all this hose. So this kind of hose, this is original. All old rubber hose, as it ages, becomes more and more porous, where the refrigerant travels through the hose and comes out through all the hose. So for every inch of hose you have a certain amount of refrigerant loss. So the longer the hose, the more the loss. And it leaves no oil stains. You won't see any oil stains unless it was a severe leak, but it's just a natural seepage. So if I filled this up and parked it for 10 years, it would be completely flat or empty, and there'd be no oil leaks anywhere. You would see no stains or anything like that. The refrigerant just literally comes through all the rubber material. All right, let's move on to the next video on this vehicle.